Welcome everyone. It's Angelo Robles. If you're live, it is 8 o'clock at night on a Tuesday here in America. I hope you had a wonderful 3.5 day for some, 1 day for others holiday on the incredible and always shout out to our veterans in our country on Memorial Day and the unofficial beginning of the summer that to me feels in my travels really all the way around the world. Now, today in this live, or if you watch this in a recording, I'm doing something, I'll admit, that may be a little bit repetitive to some of you. So you might have heard or watched, I'm going to rock with a PowerPoint again. It's becoming a little bit of a habit. But some of you are very visual. So I showed and spoke through for about an hour last time a pretty deep PowerPoint, the deepest one I've ever seen from someone in the family office world that I gave away on deep context around AI integration in family offices. But that was like 2 weeks ago. In the world of AI, that's so antiquated. I updated some slides. I added about 6 new others. But sure, I get it. Some of you may have kind of seen this already. But did you really absorb it? I mean, come on. Watching your favorite show or movie, don't you learn more watching it a second and a third time? Now, some of you may just not care. Then I guess this conversation about why your family office is already obsolete, or really any company, this applies so much more than really just a family office or a financial firm or someone servicing the family office community. Or maybe you're so good in AI, it's just repetitive and you don't need it. I get it. There's other things to do. If you're live on a Tuesday night, I already knocked off my cigar and still have a little bit of tracing on my cold. Probably not the greatest thing in the world, but I've been a pretty good boy now for 4 days. So today I felt I deserved it. Without further ado, I am going to bring up the PowerPoint and I hope to all of you make AI come alive. And I have a message towards the end. I thought about not including it because it's not overly positive for much in the family office community as it relates to AI and integration and challenges. But who cares? The hell with it. I did include at least a lightly sparse version of it. But why don't we get right to it? And effectively, you shall make your own decisions. Let me know, unlike 3 weeks ago, that the PowerPoint is working. And please feel free to interact. Some of the questions I may not be able to get to until the end. Someone's asking my 80s reference I occasionally give. Angelo, is this an Ovaltine moment? No one's going to know what that is unless you kind of grew up in the 70s or 80s, implying like a nighttime chocolatey drink. It's going to be long. Yeah, but it's going to be so valuable. So on that note, let me add it to the stage. Okay, I think it's, at least on my end, it is working. I'm expanding it. I'm going to make the assumption that you could see it. My text, so maybe some of you could let me know, is 203-570-2898. And yeah, I changed the title because I actually think this is more apropos. Your family office is already obsolete. That doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean it can't adapt. It just means with the resources we have right now, that's the scary part. I can make the argument that it's obsolete. And I want to illustrate the brutal math, what happens when you don't rebuild or in parallel create or adapt into an organization that's going to leverage the resources right now. Don't forget, in the end, whether I like it or not, the tech always wins. So why don't we get right to it? And I'm not just commenting on AI for family offices and entrepreneurs. I'm living through it, buying the hardware, going through all the frontier, open weight, open claw, Hermes, paperclip, you name it. I am running it and living it. So I think the premise that I'm effectively making, let's get right to it. You should need AI to create massive operational advantages for your business, your family office, and everything that follows. I mean, it's not a immersive 22 hours in a masterclass, but everything that follows is high. There is no question. High. I mean, how? There is no question right now, let alone 6 months or a year from now. You could have the mindset and the compounding of knowledge and implementation that creates a massive operational business and family office advantage right now. So to me, a high performing, my members will recognize that phrase. I wrote another 100-page book that I outputted to my members. High performing family office. It's not measured by how busy it is. It's measured by the quality of the decisions, the speed of its execution, the strength of its people, the clarity of its purpose, the adaptability of its systems, and the degree to which the family becomes more capable. That is really what matters. And continuity in the family, because the family office exists. Now, I know I've showed this one several times. You need to watch it or hear it again. 4 years, really 3.5. November of 2022 is when AI, as we know it, when OpenAI's ChatGPT launched. It is not even 4 years old. It's such a baby. And look how far it's come. Look at 2 weeks ago, Jamie Dimon on stage. Look at Ken Griffin at Citadel and what he said. All things we're going to go through, and loop back into businesses and family offices and to why that matters now. So in 2022, very late 2022, it talked. In 2026, it executes and went from chat to actually doing things. That 4 years from kind of a novelty to actual intelligence and infrastructure, the next 4 years, my God, the next 4 months are going to be unrecognizable. And I don't want you, the entrepreneur, the principal, the rising gen, the executive who I care so much about, and those that service the community within the family office community, to be caught flat-footed. Again, I'm 60. I've been in this community a long, long time. Been around the world, been there and done it, made every mistake. I really just got heavily into this 2 years ago and hardcore really about a year. If I could do it, you could do it. Okay, I'm in a shocker. Let's just get right to it. If you're only behind a keyboard, you're replaceable. It's just a reality. If it's based on patterns, statistics, mathematics, formulas, existing research, or rather bluntly, I'm making it complicated. If you're only behind a keyboard, 99% of you, there's always an exception, are replaceable. Let's just run with that. Even if that's a little bit of hyperbole at the moment, you'll agree it's directionally correct. We're using the worst AI it will ever be, the worst tools ever in AI at this point in time are existing today. Literally tomorrow, a week, a month, a year. Oh my God, 3 years. We can't plan that long in today's world for a variety of reasons. But we try. AI is the worst it will ever be today. So the playbook, it's just dead. By the way, best practices, by definition, really are average practices. They're a codification of what the middle of the distribution is doing. If your family office is running only, I'm not saying benchmarking and best practices don't have some value comparative to nothing. But if that's all you do and you're not doing first principles thinking, you're not keeping ahead of the curve. Your average, like your set average, like as your ceiling, that's not what you want. That's unacceptable. If you're going to run a business, be an entrepreneur, have a family office, and you're not at least striving for excellence, why bother? I think it's too hard. It's probably not the best option for you. The AI advantage with people, technology, and systems, and heavy first principles thinking. I want to drop into a family office and I just feel the competence, the shocking competence, the speed of decision-making, the precision of execution. I want to be shocked by it. And that's what AI helps. I'm not saying for right now at the core, it's more important than the right people. It's not. But I'm holding that standard very, very, very high. Very high. Again, excellence, shocking competence. Like AI isn't coming just for one thing. I said about sitting at the computer and looking at your screen, and if that's all you do. It's reshaping everything. What capital flows, decision cycles, market pace, due diligence, reporting, all of it all at once. By the way, and I did this 2 weeks ago, and not acceptable with my books. That's only for my members. But this 68-slide PowerPoint, at least for a while, if you DM or request it, I will say it's going to come digitally, by the way. It's a link. You'll open it digitally. I will send it to you. You just have to ask. Do not let arrogance, ego, resistance, inertia get in your way. Normal human emotions, I go through them as well. You ignoring this is not going to be the answer or solution. I promise you. I promise you that. Oh, look, good timing. Resistance, arrogance, ego, and fear. Those are 4 things that will cost a family office more than any. We all have bad deals once in a while. More than any bad deal ever could. Is that you? Again, we all go through some of these emotions. And AI, look at some of the speeches on college campuses recently, even by like Eric Schmidt, like brilliant, incredible. Like there's misinformation. I could get into geopolitics on that one and who's helping to spread that here in the US and Western countries, because God forbid that we get an AI advantage. We get AGI, we get ASI, we dominate the world of energy and the future of capitalism. There's a lot of people who don't want that to happen. Trust me on that. A little detour from Angelo there. I mentioned this when I was in and around the Milken in LA a couple of weeks ago. I bumped into a woman, incredible pioneer in finance in her 70s. She heard one of my presentations. She comes up to me and says, Angelo, like she mentioned the names. I'm not going to say them here. If you're in finance, especially 80s, 90s, early 2000s, the giant private equity titans. So 2 of the co-founders of one such entity who you would all know, these are decabillionaires well into their 80s. They use AI 2 hours a day each. Listen to this. The people who least need an edge are the ones taking it most seriously. That is all you need to know. That is the tell. I mentioned Ken Griffin. What is he only worth? About 100 billion? The iconic, well, he does so many things. Let's go with the term hedge fund manager. He stated, of course, CEO of Citadel, his observation that he was fairly depressed. He witnessed AI agents performing what previously required months of work from teams of his PhDs, now completed in days. He stated, his words, these are not mid-tier white-collar jobs. These are extraordinarily highly skilled, highly trained people, and now a lot of it's being automated by agentic, aka AI agents. Like, again, I gave you the decabillionaires, the private equity legends, Ken Griffin. How many others do you have to hear this from? Thiel, Schmidt, Andreessen, others, like it's a laundry list. Jamie Dimon, which I'm going to get to relatively shortly. I know you all believe directionally, whether you like it or not, and including me, this is 100% correct. Like I am, you could argue our or my timelines. So is it better for you not to have the right mindset, to not compound like in investing you compound, compounding your knowledge? While it may be a little harder now, a little more difficult to mastering AI. And no, you putting in one sentence in ChatGPT and getting a mediocrity of an answer, all things we'll get to shortly. Lightly, this is not a deep dive or a masterclass. This is to hopefully wake you up and point you in the right direction that I believe many of you broadly in business and finance and definitely within the family office community need. I mentioned I would come back to Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan, Dario Amodei, CEO of Anthropic. Recently on stage about 3 weeks ago, I believe when I was in LA during Milken, highlighting the potential of AI in finance. And Jamie Dimon, who's probably late 60s, early 70s, shared his personal experience. I think it was over that weekend, using Claude Code to build a financial dashboard in 20 minutes. You do not need specific technical skill. Look at me. Now, hundreds of hours from my perspective and a lot of money, time, and frustration, sure. But that helped to create my mindset. I created my own app, got one up on the App Store when 1 minute of engineering help. And that was like forever ago, like 8 or 9 months ago. It is so much easier now. The compounding of my capability was real. So Anthropic unveiled 10 purpose-built AI agents for financial services, pitch builder, earnings reviewer, model builder, valuation reviewer. Look it up. Look at their Claude managed agents from about a month and a half ago. And now what, like 4 to 5 weeks later, they're releasing this, that Jamie Dimon's on stage with them. Is this like a Wall Street killer? Like, again, it's never going to be worse than it is today. It's advancing. This year has like kind of been incredible. Everything is advancing even faster than I thought. Watch my interview with Dr. Alexander Wisner-Gross from back in early February, and that field's ancient at this time. Like, there's a lot of things happening. So the 50-year-old family office executive running a sophisticated operation, decades of consequential decisions still ahead, and not yet doing this, meaning AI adoption, they have to answer the question, their future forward highest performing peers, the private equity legends, Ken Griffin, Jamie Dimon, and so many others have already answered. How is this going to end good for you? How? At minimum, you want to be the person, and the benchmark is so low. You want to be the family office person who understands advanced uses of AI in operational and other financial issues. Don't you think that's going to give you an incredible edge as a principal, as an executive, or someone servicing the community? Okay, a little bit of hyperbole here, a little bit. You have multiple Einsteins on call with these, even the frontier AIs, the core ones, OpenAI, Anthropic's Claude, Google's Gemini, Grok. Perplexity is unique, but why not? We'll shove them in. Okay, Einstein's a little bit of a stretch there, but on a more diverse set of subjects, so absolutely. And on the benchmarking, and IQ is a limited but important form of intelligence, scoring what, like 140? Einstein was about 160. You don't think that's going to be surpassed? How about when Claude Mythos comes out, that has been pantied effectively by Anthropic to a degree, the US government and others? Like, that's coming. That Einstein one may be blown away by the end of the year or early first quarter next year. Again, it doesn't matter whether I like it or not. It's just the reality, because I understand in the end, the tech always wins. And I believe many entrepreneurs, principals, and family offices, and I know I've been in this industry for decades. This is a lot of what I do now. I travel the world. I get invited to speak on these and many other topics, on generational wealth, on investing, on geopolitics, on macroeconomics, and of course on AI and how it underlines or underpins a lot of what I just said. You have these resources. Let's go with the multiple Einsteins, and you're using them to draft often pretty bad emails. Really? I mentioned this already, but why don't you be the most aggressive user of AI in your field, in your family office? And this is how you survive, at least for a time. Why not go with thrive in more of an AI-centric world? You name a function. I mentioned looking at a screen. You name a function, AI is already there. Workflows, decisions, reporting, admin, due diligence, deal support, comms, ops. Like just wake up. And just this past year, and we're going to get to the Anthropic suite shortly, what's available at relatively low cost, 24/7, 168 hours a week at your fingertips to make your family office, you as an executive, you servicing the community, you in the world of finance, I want you to be irreplaceable. We got a lot of things to cover. AI doesn't just, if you know what you're doing, that's an important part. It's not that hard, but you got to know what you're doing. It doesn't just give you an edge. It gives you a moat. Operational advantages so large and so fast that catching up, and I mentioned mindset and compounding earlier, becomes effectively impossible for many of your peers, honestly, especially over 50, to be able to catch up on. Early movers, I know I'm hitting this one hard. Look at that beautiful race car. Early movers are compounding advantages every quarter. In 18 months, the gap between AI native family offices and everyone else, I think, I don't have a crystal ball. I think for maybe 99% of the others, I think it's going to be permanent. Allow me my drink of water. Well, you can look at that beautiful image. This is getting a little outside the realm of family offices, but 3 shifts, no family office is prepared for. Effectively digital employees, AI agents that don't clock out, don't quit, and they actually kind of do need managing, and that's where you're going to come in as well. Humanoids, physical AI in operations, going to take a little longer to play out, but I don't know, look at Amazon and others on logistics. Eventually, real estate properties, I think it's going to be sooner than you think. Today's not the day to talk about energy, data centers, low Earth orbit, space, moon, all of that with data centers and much more. It's coming. And no, it's not going to be 15 or 20 years. And today is not the day to talk about tokenized finance, but every asset, every transaction, every settlement on chain, no intermediaries. Do you think like that clock is going to be rolled back? Or maybe this is a little future forward thinking, but directionally, it's very, very accurate. Like just imagine, I don't know why I say 5 years on here, when ChatGPT came out 3.5 years ago, the AI capabilities discussed, they were just not there for anyone. So top tier entities, imagine the Rockefellers, the Habsburgs, the Pritzkers, etc. You with modern AI and your capability of using it has resources that $100 billion family offices, think the Waltons and others, they lacked, as short as probably some of them right now, but for sure 3 to 3.5 years ago. This has made it easier. I'm not going to get into lender versus the IRS and why you should create the family office structure even below probably 150 million. I've done that before. We'll do it again this summer. We're going to do some cool things this summer. I think some of you said my studio is about as boring could be. Thank you. When I'm on my Connecticut property, I'm going to start to do some things outdoors. So I did some shorts in the winter season, a little bit of Wyoming and in Connecticut. But now the beautiful summer, the scenery, maybe I'll take my cigar out, do Q&A. So I got some new dynamics to get rid of my boring blue background. It's coming. 10%. 10%. That's how much, I'm being so generous. 10%. That's how much AI your family office is likely actually using now. The other 90% isn't waiting for you to catch up. It's there with vibe coding, with all the services available, with agents, with, again, going from chat, which are likely not even doing that well, to actually doing things. Don't you want this edge? Don't you want the mindset, the compounding, the massive advantages? I heard the folks on Moonshots, Salim, I'm going to indirectly quote some of his stuff later when I have a little bit of a harrowing message in about 20 minutes as I wrap up for the family office world. You know, talking about some things you could literally 100x productivity. Now, does a family office necessarily need that? Is that more for an existing business, product and services? Sure. Okay, so in a family office, are you only 10x? Like, that's really bad? It's like, you have to wake up to this. So that 90% gap, I mentioned some things, but they were more things. This is putting it more into reality for many of you. Investment memos, earnings comps, diligence materials, financial models, company profiles, in minutes, not days. These platforms exist now with institutional grade outputs, and many of them connecting directly to tools that many of you use: Capital IQ, FactSet, PitchBook, SEC filings, etc. It's all there now. Claude actually makes this so easy. Now, I do have to address this one. This is not going to make me many favorites at Microsoft. I'll try to keep it quick. Many of you that are maybe larger, more institutional family offices, well, Angelo, we're dipping our toe into AI through Microsoft Copilot. Microsoft Copilot kind of sucks. I guess it's better than nothing. I mean, they mention in their material, entertainment purposes only, very limited scalability, uses limited and challenged ChatGPT and Anthropic models that are often dated. And yes, it's like a reskinned ChatGPT. And like, I don't get it. Like, I see performance issues. I think there still is even security risk. If you're using Microsoft Copilot, it's a start. Welcome. It's a really bad one. And it's not an acceptable answer that, well, this is what my family office uses, we're going to make it work. Like, okay, but if there's something better and you're driving the beaten up Chevrolet and there's a beautiful Porsche or Lamborghini or Bugatti, my God, I keep on going up in scale and price. And you can learn how to drive it in a day or two? Like, you're kidding me. And what you think you're getting from more enterprise grade solutions, I'm going to give at least some pushback to you on that in terms of from a security perspective. And by the way, I don't really address it here. I'll admit that probably needs to be an addition. Besides inertia, arrogance and fear, resistance, reasons why you don't jump on board with this, and it's going to destroy you sooner rather than later, is I think a lot of it is fear of the unknown, but it comes down, some of it is security issues. I'll admit that. You don't need to use OpenClaw the way that I do, but there's ways to do it that I do very safe, that I teach and train in my masterclass. So I do understand some of the concerns that some of you have. I could probably do a better job of addressing those. What I'll guarantee you is they're very addressable. Just, it's a little more boring. And something that we do cover in the masterclass, but I have more content, at least for my members, coming out on that. So most people ask AI questions. You need to make the AI compete, master the frontier models that I noted. They're all better at something. I like Gemini because they own YouTube for dissecting YouTube videos. I don't know why. It's better at public stock analysis. And Notebook LM is so cool. Now, they're also a platform that has many limitations. Grok is good for real-time sentiment for X, aka Twitter feeds. I think Anthropic, broadly speaking, is the best suite. I'm a little disappointed in 4.7. Some next version or Mythos is coming out soon. I hope so, because again, I've been a little disappointed in their 4.7 Opus, Claude Opus. And OpenAI, big step up with 5.5. If you're not giving them the whatever $200 a month and you're working on the free model or the $20 a month model, which is probably 5.3, shame on you. Shame on you. That's unacceptable. Oh, and by the way, if you're using free models inside your family office and you're working on antiquated, limited systems that are also training on your data, sharing the secrets indirectly of your family office, all things we're going to get to a little bit later when I talk about sovereignty, which I'm a very, very big fan of. And this is where many of you are going to get messed up or maybe a concern to step deeper into AI, but I have solutions for you. You have to learn the models. What is better for what is better at deep reasoning? What is better for this? You have to learn how to prompt. Meta prompting now makes that easier than ever. Sorry, come to the masterclass. You'll get more detail on that. And you have to make these systems battle each other, debate each other. Here's the answer I got being a good prompter from 4.7. I'm now putting it into ChatGPT 5.5. Here's what I got. Rip it apart from Anthropic and give me something better. Like, yeah, it's a little bit extra work, but the output I get is brilliance compared to not doing that. I did mention I'd come back to Anthropic. By far, as a frontier model, they have the most broad suite of services, good quality and deep thinking LLMs, design features that are awesome, the managed agents, the finance agents I mentioned earlier, Claude Cowork, incredible, incredible. And obviously Claude Code, you got people like me creating apps. What's going to be the future of SaaS companies? What's going to be the future of a lot of the companies and softwares that you use inside a family office? Like, oh, there's a lot of interesting things coming and things that you could create and keep more private and in control. Is that not important to a family in a family office? Anthropic is an incredible suite. Again, their current LLM is slightly disappointing. Within a couple of weeks, that's going to change. Now, I get it. Like, agents are probably the sexy talk in the family office world, but skills compound. So I'm not quite finished with Anthropic. So it's kind of like a 3-layer architecture. The skills are, consider it the verb. What an AI, like how to do is kind of how I describe it. Workflows come next. That's the sentence, kind of puts the verbs chain together. And agents are the paragraph, the orchestrators that pick which workflows to run. Now, we're going to come back to some of that, but I think I need to go into this. In April, Claude launched cloud-hosted agents with persistent memory. No infrastructure that you have to build. It's easy. I mentioned this already. And then just a couple of weeks ago with Jamie Dimon on stage with Dario, the reveal or the unveil or whatever the right word is of the 10 finance agents, like incredible. This is all just weeks apart, and the latter part, we're not even in June yet. Imagine what June and July is going to hold for us. So, like, imagine just one agent versus an orchestrating team. The principal, whether you deem that to be a family member active in a family office or the CEO, run diligence on the deal. A lead agent spins the earnings reviewer, the model builder, the valuation reviewer, the KYC screener simultaneously, all within Claude. You're not building this out. They work on shared files, relatively easy to set up. The lead assembles the final package. It's traceable, auditable, inside programs you're used to, like Excel, Word, etc. Like, that's not a chatbot. It's not a chat. This is an operating layer. Your first agent on these kind of platforms, now we're going to get to OpenClaw. That's a little more complicated. The first agent, when I'm talking about here, you should be able to spin this up in 5 minutes. Having an outside or whatever in-source, outsource engineer, AI engineer like 2 years ago, like it might have took weeks to months and probably not be that good. It's incredible what's at your fingertips now. Now, I don't want to go too deep into the weeds with this. Many of you, when you're prompting, and assuming you know about temperature and context window, the nuances of the frontier models, how to get the most out of prompting, and how to do projects, and then it doesn't remember who you are and context behind it each time you start one. It's terrible. Now, this is where co-work and skills could come into play, and all things talked about in my upcoming June masterclass. But Claude MD, it's kind of your nothing to do with a medical doctor. Your family office's operating system in a single file. Andre Carthapy, brilliant. Now at Anthropic. Please follow that guy on X. So it's one markdown file that you easily create that tells Claude your investment criteria, your reporting standard, your compliance requirements, your decision frameworks. It reads them at the start of every session. You don't have to start from scratch or even copy and paste as much. So no reprompting, no retraining. Your institutional logic is persistent, compounding, and always on. Now, AI knows, from my perspective here, if you know how to set this up, how your family office thinks at the highest level. I did mention skills, like a skill MD file, kind of an institutional logic yet again. And again, I don't want to get hyper deep into the weeds here, but you could create a skill for K1 review against your entity structure, GP letter, a skill for NDA redlining, a skill for capital call, a gazillion different skills. Now, you may need to update them as new resources, information, criteria, your perspective comes in, but you're setting up this skill once. You're not needing to repeat it and be lost in the system and the prompt that doesn't have institutional memory from a new project that you're starting. And these are all things explaining the frontier models, prompting, meta prompting, temperature, etc. The skills we're talking about here, one for members in my books and certainly immersively in my June 23rd and 24th masterclass. I do have a little bit of a love affair, although I can be critical of Google and Gemini at times. They built something called Notebook LM. Well, it's really cool. I love it for pitch deck review. Now, it's going to be a little bit more contained because how it's structured, it just works with what you give it. So in theory, it doesn't hallucinate, gives comprehensive analysis, and you can convert. Maybe you like to listen more to these, or when you drive, it converts the output, if you want, into a podcast with even two different people debating the merits of it per the criteria that you set up and the input, in my example here of the deck, that you share with it. Like at what, like free or $20 a month, even if you're not on the $200 a month plan with Gemini? I could probably use Perplexity Computer. That's what they call it. It's not literally a computer, but it basically accesses 19 different LLMs and it gives citations. So for certain things, it's better. And now it actually could act, not just chat, but act as an autonomous agent. It operates computers, navigates the web, executing tasks end to end. So not just advice anymore, like 2 or 3 months ago, it actually acts. I mean, I call this kind of the 4 lanes. Lane 1, sovereign. Lane 2, sanitized pipelines. Lane 3, kind of the hybrid approach or agent, and lane 4, like I described with Perplexity Computer and some of the frontier models, where you could also use the browser service in OpenAI and how to structure it within Anthropic. And again, it's working within your browser. It's actually acting. All these things are like relatively newer, at least ease of newer in the last couple of months. This year has been incredible in terms of what's going on. Now, a large part of my conversation, I love the frontier models. Anthropic is incredible. OpenAI is playing some incredible catch up, including with their coding at Codex. Incredible. It might even at the moment on deep thinking and that be a little better than Anthropic. Debatable. You should use all the models. But I don't own it. I might have vendor lock-in. They may change the pricing. I don't know. They may get subpoenaed. They may elect they don't like me and they want to cancel it. There's things that could go wrong. Maybe things are being leaked, even though they said it's not. And maybe I'm doing it through AWS and Bedrock and getting somewhat of a sandbox. Sure, all things we talk about at the masterclass. But I feel like I'm renting it. It's not mine. Sovereign AI solutions, you do have to do the hardware up front. I'm not saying that's cheap. You have to learn how to use open weight models like Kimi, Qwen, DeepSeek, Llama, and others. Probably not for the hyper deep thinking. Save the frontier models for that. What we may call orchestration. And frontier models, that cost could start to add up. And we'll dive a little bit into that, but today's not the deep dive into that. You download these frontier models onto your specific hardware, $0. You may need some API connections and things like that. So I'm not saying, depending on the complexity of your family office and the task you want to accomplish, that's going to be zero cost, but it's going to be a hell of a lot cheaper, but more complicated. That's the trade-off. Maybe you start with the frontier models. Again, Anthropic suite is very good. You get a little bit of confidence with that over a couple of months. Vibe coding, agents, orchestration. And then you move into understanding, and then you have time to order the right hardware stack to start to transition some of it over more to a sovereign model that you own and control. You don't think the family of wealth and resources doesn't like privacy and control? Of course they do. Control your future. And that's the difference between kind of open versus closed, or AKA frontier model like OpenAI, Anthropic, etc. When you have control of your sovereign stack, your data stays yours. Your models only answer to you. No vendor can reprice you, throttle, or shut you off. Now, sure, I mentioned GPT now has Atlas, Perplexity, Comet/Computer. Gemini has their Spark. So the browser as we know it is no longer just an interface. I hinted at this a couple of minutes ago. It's an execution surface. Custodial portals, fund admin, K1, compliance tools, the latest like manual surfaces in the operation. Now it's agent executable in these relatively cheap frontier models that are pre-built out of the box that you just have to do a little bit of customization for, which is why I said earlier, please stop going from badly using the chat to draft emails and do basic stuff that you're not even maximizing that with. There's so much more power right now at your fingertips with this. It's incredible. Incredible. So back a little bit to sovereign versus non-sovereign. Maybe you do your deepest thinking, as I say here, with theirs, but you run it, you execute on yours. So that's a balance. There's a science and an art to that. If you're doing complex things and strictly only running it through the frontier models and letting it run 168 hours a week, you're going to have some pretty good costs there. So that intelligence is somewhat rented. You want to own at least the execution. the institutional knowledge, the data that never touches the cloud. You never bleed your IP, which could happen. Maybe you borrow the frontier's intelligence, but you build your own. Today is not the day to talk about, okay, I'm really all in. I want the right hardware stack, what Mac Minis, Mac Studio, NVIDIA DGX Spark, which computers to get. My books talk about that. My masterclass definitely goes into that. How to structure and start off with Anthropic Suite, OpenAI, and others. I mentioned Gemini, Grok, and Perplexity Computer can be wonderful too. I use them all. But I absolutely have some things that are my proprietary knowledge. I want to own it. I don't want it bleeding into the cloud. And I like the fact, maybe being a libertarian, it's just how I am. I like freedom and control. So for me, using things like OpenClaw and Hermes, which are going to be harder for sure, and you probably will need some level of AI engineering. Some of you, depending on the task and workflows, maybe 8 hours, some maybe a lot more. If you're a larger scale family office, you should probably have an internal AI integration or forward, quote unquote, engineer. But I don't know, like I learned how to use OpenClaw and Hermes as agents that are more complex than using the frontier models, but I own it. I own it. I know how to set up governance with paperclip, institutional knowledge, Obsidian, Weaviate, and again, all things that I walk step by step in both of my AI family office books, which are applicable to entrepreneurs, people in finance, and much deeper, and only available if you're a member. On a larger scale family office or a very tech-savvy team, maybe using Pi, which is PI, you kind of create your own kind of OpenClaw, and then you really have it locked down from a security perspective. So a little bit, and very approximate here, the vendor stack versus the sovereign stack. If you're hardcore using Anthropic and OpenAI, and some things are running 168 hours a week, you're going to have some big costs there. Maybe even, like it says here, a couple of $100,000 a year. The sovereign stack, now you got to pay for the hardware. That may be 30 to 50K if you want to do it quasi right. If you're a larger scale family office with lots of decades of institutional knowledge and you really want to have the Bugatti, then you may be spending $250,000 on the right quote unquote hardware stack. But oh my God, what a Bugatti you're going to have inside your family office. And the open weight models that I mentioned that you download from a Hugging Face or a Llama, they cost you nothing. So it says 23,000 there because you're going to need some APIs and connections and some level of orchestration with some frontier models. So it's going to cost some money. Look at those cost savings over the years. Now, I get it. You're going to say, but the open weight models on deeper level reasoning and integration right now with OpenClaw are not quite as good. Yes, that's changing. They're catching up. I don't know what 2 months out is going to hold. And again, I use both. I'm just careful. And it's a bit of an art and science in terms of how I use them. I'm going to skip over some aspects of the case study. Just ask me for the digital PowerPoint and I'll give it with you. I hinted at the first one earlier, using Notebook LM and other resources. I could do a full 120-page deck review or multiple opportunities I get in, at least the initial review, in like minutes, like 9 minutes, like I mentioned here. I could set up APIs and structures to get my portfolio briefing, like when my cup of coffee hits in the morning, like at 6 o'clock, every day. Geopolitical shifts, what I tie into, resources that I look at, movements in gold and silver, news in the Financial Times, this and that, what's going on in Asian markets. I could get these things in real time, instantly, 168 hours a week. We'll skip over that one. I did. My family constitution, mission, vision statement even helped me structuring my unregulated, soon to be private trust company. Like, really? The legal services? Yeah, I take maybe the final 10% to someone, but I don't need them to do the whole thing. I want to take more ownership of the process. I want it quicker. I want it to my standards, and I want to be more cost effective. Maybe I'm damn cheap, but speed matters to me as well. Everything is changing. And again, just ask me for this. This one is kind of the cool one. We give a live demonstration of this at the masterclass. You could even follow along and effectively create your own app on Claude Code. Now, it may not be the most complex app. I'm not saying that it is. It's teaching you the mindset and compounding of knowledge to start to learn how to use it. You're going to be like so impressed by yourself with a little bit of hand-holding within often 30 to 40 minutes what you're going to be able to create. It's incredible. What a time. I hinted at this one. There is no question AI has been very, very impactful to me and other family offices on legal work in a variety of different ways. Not quite as impactful yet on taxes, but it's getting there. And again, if it's knowledge work, accounting, legal, financial, and I'm in front of a computer and I could download an IRC, an internal revenue code, like, how are we going to be able to keep up with that as humans? We're going to use it to augment, to speed up the process of the work that we do. It can absolutely develop context, books, videos on next gen custom education, including interviews with the family office and the principals, and private videos and things that it creates that are incredible. All of this, don't have anyone tell you otherwise. All of this is right now. They just don't want to admit it to you because they're protecting their turf. Oh, yeah, like, I guess it's there, but it's not as good as me. Of course, I'm top 2% at this or that. Maybe they are. They're probably not. And then how are they going to compete with this in 6 months, a year and a half? Like, they're not. So to me, as a family office, an entrepreneur, anyone, you need to have a maniacal sense of urgency right now. You need to think in first principles thinking, deconstructing its potential, and you need to be obsessive. And I know I'm getting more into my high performance family office and my putting on my Peter Drucker hat, which I so love to do. You need to have an obsessive focus on removing bottlenecks. What are our goals? What are we doing to achieve them? Who's responsible for it? How can I help them accomplish that and remove the bottlenecks? Only excellence, 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 excellence. Remember Parkinson's law as well? Why are you putting it at 6 weeks to 3 months? Maybe 3 days, 6 days. Move up the time frame. Push your people, but damn it, of course, pay them properly if they're good. I mean, I'm going to come back again to the sovereign issue a little bit here. Rent versus own. Think about it. You own your real estate, your gold, at least I think you do, operating companies, even trust structures, private companies. Treat your AI infrastructure the same way. At least consider it. Like, you need to become more sovereign, where things can't be pulled from you or unplugged. And no, you often do not need a consultant. You need 72 hours in granola. And no, I don't mean the cereal. Look it up. I use it. Use it or variations for phone calls, for Zoom, for conferences and meetings. It records and transcribes, and then you run it through AI, knowing how to prompt. So do this. Take a busy 3-day period, write down everything you do and why and what the outcome you're looking for of that action, steps, whatever you're doing, and know how to prompt and run that through AI. How could I do this better? No, that's not a good prompt. I'm just broadly stating. And then what you recorded in granola, if you know how to, even if you're not doing things with AI, you're just chatting. I know I made a little fun of that earlier. If you're so good at it, it is like having 10, 100 PhDs, maybe an Einstein, 2 or 10, but you have to know how to use it. It's not quite as intuitive. It needs to be yelled at occasionally. You need to understand some of the concepts and meta prompting that I mentioned earlier. It will be so powerful with this one tip that I gave you. Now, we don't have a lot of time to go into this. Ask me for it, you'll get it. Why don't you have the AI, the LLMs, be a devil's advocate? Read what I state there. Give me 4 dimensions of attack to my idea. I want it to break my idea. I'm not looking for a consensus. I'm looking for the truth. And here's an example that you could copy and paste if you ask for this and put in some of the custom information. The Socratic method. Passive reading creates familiarity. This creates actual knowledge. Use it as well for the rising generation. Here's an example of a prompt, a mediocre one, but it gets the job done, that you could do as well. I think the family office built in the past, even recent past, kind of administered complexity. The one built right now commands intelligence. Look at what happened. Look at what we as humans did. Billions of years have been what? Oil in the ground, sunshine, metals, sand. Like those, 4 things became chips, became intelligence. We made sand effectively think. It's an incredible, incredible time. And you're going to let this pass by? I mean, why do you think Sergey Brin, who's worth, $200 billion, he didn't just stop. He had his couple of years off. And now with AI, he's back in the game. Back in. Not because he needs the money, just like the private equity folks earlier that I mentioned, decabillionaires in their 80s, still putting 2 hours a day into it. Protect your generational knowledge and wealth with generational intelligence, and it's here and will never be worse than it is right now. Now, I did promise I would come back to this. Some of you are going to take this the wrong way. Don't be that person who's sensitive. Don't let your arrogance and ego get in the way. You don't need to like me. You need to feel that I may know a thing or two and I'm directionally correct. The hardest part for the family office in much of this, it's not the actual technology. The architecture is solved. The organization is the problem. Think of within a company. This is more common in larger companies. A huge advantage that single family offices specifically have is that they're small and intimate, but this could still apply. Even most family offices are built around some level of hierarchy. It's not good. AI native intelligence, the AI native family office is organized around intelligence. Intelligence first, not hierarchy. Now, these are structurally different organizations. The integration challenge is real. You probably cannot simply add AI to one and kind of produce the other. And yes, I guess for humans, there is going to be systemic resistance. The new system kind of fights the old system, sometimes silently, sometimes openly, and usually both. This is where the friction for many companies and family offices actually lives. I'll give you some here that consultants are too weak and afraid to give you. There's an identity crisis. The team member whose identity is the work that AI can now do and likely do it better and faster. Redundant relationships, legacy controls, entrenched leadership, cultural inertia, and a leader's just ambivalence, like just doesn't care. This is a major problem in corporations. Corporations, and I think Salim at Moonshot's famous podcast spoke about this, especially with above 50 or definitely 100 employees. You may need to build a parallel AI system in discretion, because we're even seeing young people now that are sabotaging the AI attempts inside companies. They don't want it to succeed. When are you going to wake up as a principal, a family member, a leader of a family office, and face reality that is often ugly? I do think it's easier to address these issues in the more intimate setting of a family office, but they're real. You will need to address likely some subtle, if not overt, attempts at sabotage, resistance. I mean, I guess part of it is human nature. Is this going to replace me? Like I see happening now in the world of finance and all these companies letting go people. There needs to be an honest conversation with the talent and the people. And I'm not saying this is easy, but I'd rather have it done that way than what large corporations, where the only way this will probably work, maybe very rare exceptions, is to build a parallel entity, one workflow, one challenge at a time, and to structurally build it out. I think this could be done more openly and doesn't need to be so overt in the family office. But to ignore that this is a reality is foolish, and I'm not going to be the person who does that. Many of you know, if you're a member, you can just go to angelorobles.com and join. You get my proprietary books, resources, private videos, one-on-ones with me. 2 of my books, now up to 6 or 7, even I'm forgetting, and I update these 2 every 3 weeks because AI changes so much, are deep integrations of AI into the world of business, finance, and of course, the family office. And I go hardcore into the sovereign part because I think that's so important for many of you. So just think of this. You join and be part of a special community of some of the most incredible families and family offices all around the world. Not only do you get that within 24 hours, and me and you setting up the onboarding, and me helping you prepare for what you should attend, which is here on the screen, the first of 3 I'm going to do this year for my members, my AI Family Office Masterclass, where I have the greatest instructors on family office integrations in the world that are principals, rising gens, real entrepreneurs. These are real people integrating AI even more than me. I built this exclusively for the family office community. But if you're an entrepreneur or business owner, 90% of it is still going to go apply, of course, to you. So the first one this year, immersive and of course in person. The only way to really do it right and bring in your computer is June 23rd and 24th in lovely New York. Hopefully the New York Knicks would have won the NBA championship, which if it goes game 7 wraps up on the 19th. The parade will probably be Monday, the day before this, maybe on the 22nd. So that, at least that's how I think it's going to play out. And you'll catch New York in such a happy mood. This is 2 days of deep immersion. So just think of this. We're about to head into June. Imagine joining, getting all my books, especially the 2 that are AI-centric, onboarding with me, having conversations, getting you set up to be really prepared for the immersion so you get the most out of it in the masterclass. You will go from 0 to 100, or if you're already at 100, to 212 miles an hour that quick. These 2 days are not meant to be fun. It's not to say that we don't tell a joke or 2, or maybe go out to dinner, have a cigar or a drink. I'm down. But we're here to put in like 10, 11-hour days, each of these days. This is work. I don't care what you look like, how you dress. You get there, you bring your computer, and we get down to work. I want to make you incredible. And we help you before that and some level of handholding after that. So just think, what did I say earlier about your mindset and about compounding your knowledge? As we head into June, you join, you get all that I described. You're in New York. You're going to figure out a way to get there. It's a beautiful time of year. Again, the Knicks won the championship. The city is happy. June 23rd and 24th. You're still, like near 2 weeks away from July 4th? Imagine where you're going to be compared to where you are now, even if you're pretty good with AI. This is going to take you to a completely different level. And then if you take the actions and the updates that I give to my members and the connectivity of incredible people and peers, we got people from around the world, from Germany, that are coming here, that are members on June 23rd and 24th. You're going to be unstoppable as a principal, a rising gen, an executive in a family office. And I encourage, bring a member of your tech team, bring a rising gen. We had a couple of people bring like an 18 and 22-year-old family member last year. Imagine the edge you're going to get because you're going to have like 2 months to really work this in the summer. You're going to hit the end of the summer on Labor Day with a mindset and compounding of knowledge and capability. It's going to be extremely hard, maybe not impossible, extremely hard for others, especially an antiquated community like the family office world. You are going to have an incredible edge. Now, yes, my membership is exclusive. I've been in this community for decades. I'm not in it to provide crappy events, sponsor after sponsor, mediocre platforms and people. This is real knowledge. Go to my website, learn more about everything at angelorobles.com. But this is the masterclass. This is right around the corner. It's literally under a month away. And with what you get before it, after it, heading into July 4th, and this summer, you will be unstoppable. You will. Broadly, my organization, SFO Continuity, is our official membership LLC name. It really is more than just a strategy and intelligence group. It's a private operating platform for resilient, sovereign, more AI-enabled family offices built to endure across the generations. That's why the word continuity is a part of my company name. We want to help you move beyond isolated decision-making, fragmented advisor input, and casual and often bad AI experimentation into more peer-tested intelligence, first principles architecture, sovereign AI implementation, and year-round continuity. All the events that I host, my big event in New York in September, my private lunches and dinners in New York all summer into the fall, Vienna this fall, Cayman Islands this fall, what I'm going to be doing in Florida and Miami around Art Basel, my family office day in Miami, January next year. My New York event's already up on the website. My Palm Beach event, my marquee 4 days, where I have the best speakers in the world. Oh, I got incredible people lined up already. March 8th through 11th. Oh, I already booked that. I know it's like 9 months away, and I can't wait. This is for you. This is a real membership and private operating platform. And I've been in this community for decades, comparative to anything else that is out there. And no one could touch the work that we're doing in AI and family offices, let alone the areas I go down that no one else goes down on macroeconomics, on geopolitics, US and Iran, Europe, China, US. Like I bring in some of the best thinkers, and it's not all fun. We debate, we'll get in some arguments, sometimes hug it out at the end. Like this is the real deal. And I want you to be a part of it. And there it is. There's the name of some of my books, some of my operating and holding companies. And again, and some of you like to text me. It's all good. Bring it on. 203-570-2898. My email is very simple. If the website is angelorobles.com, my email is angelo@angelorobles.com. I'm going to go off screen here. Thank you for, yes, Sean, sovereignty is the way to go. I appreciate some of the comments. That's very kind of you. And I'm more than happy with people that disagree and have a different perspective. I do not feel that I have all the answers. It just sounds like I do, but I don't. Let me come back a little bit more to screen here. Okay, here I am. Wow, it's 9/11. It's been, what a surprise. I talk too much. It's so much for me making this 45 to 50 minutes. I'm sorry it's so long. It's after 9 o'clock at night here. I may have to catch up with the OKC versus San Antonio game, so I eventually know, once whoever wins 4 games there, who my beloved New York Knicks are going to play. I clearly remember, for the New York fans, 1994, brutal 7-game loss to Houston. 99, we lost to San Antonio. That wasn't so close. That didn't hit me quite as hard. But what a great time here into the summer, at least unofficially here in New York. Weather is beautiful. The Knicks are winning. Lots going on. You're all, of course, going to go to angelorobles.com and join and be a part of this. Join me and the 60-plus families from around the world, including some of the most iconic families in the world. Someone, I ran a fund, I must use it. Yes, someone note that he runs a fund. They use AI agents, must use, check out the work, saves time. Like, come on, you heard from Ken Griffin, Jamie Dimon, the 2 private equity legends in their 80s worth decabillions. Great person there. I appreciate you. This isn't going to get worse than it is today. In the end, tech always wins. I want you to harness it, to master it, to be an incredible user of it. Okay. Man, that person really agrees with me. If you want to join, I'll give you like a 20% discount. I'm only kidding, I think. If the Knicks win, though, I'll be in a really, really good mood. So on that note, oh, and by the way, tomorrow, I don't know if I'm going to do it live, meaning Wednesday at 4 o'clock. I might, though. We'll find out. If I don't do it live, I think I'm going to release it tomorrow. I have on probably the most famous person on X and YouTube for integration of more sovereign AI agents and vibe coding. He's a younger guy, very colorful. Alexander Wisnergross, who I had on a couple of months ago, introduced me to him after I requested the introduction. And he's doing something incredibly entrepreneurial now. So I'm going to leave that hanging a little bit. He's a big name. He's dynamic. He's colorful. My members may have a chance to meet him in June. He may be on the East Coast, so we'll see how that plays out. But at minimal, he'll be my special guest, what appears to be tomorrow. If we can't do it live, I do believe I could still distribute it, possibly tomorrow night, worst case on Thursday. So that will be a lot of fun. I appreciate all of you. Bring on the comments. It's all good. I love to hear from all of you. Everyone, I'm Angelo Robles. Go to angelorobles.com. Jump in. Again, the AI Masterclass is June 23rd and 24th. It's right around the corner. I look forward to it and hopefully seeing some of you there. Thank you all for your time and have a blessed evening.